Welcome to Cord Cutting today for May 28th, 2019. This is the show where I take a look at some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting right now. I'll let you know my thoughts on them. If you'd like to learn more about these stories, come up with your own opinions. I'd love to hear what you think. In the show notes down below, I'll put a link to each story so you can read about them for yourself and come up with your own opinions. If you're new here, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. It really does help us because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we're doing here. And hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost of cable TV and still watch the shows you enjoy. Well, before we get into it real quick, I hope everybody had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. I was very blessed to have a very relaxing one with my wife and family. So thank you to everybody who forgave us for skipping yesterday. As we get into the news today, we're back to a normal cord cutting schedule. So I hope you had a fantastic one, whatever you may have been up to. But to celebrate the unofficial start of summer, we are having another giveaway. We're giving away an Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K, a $100 Netflix gift card, and a Fire TV Recast DVR, which is a DVR where you can connect your antenna and stream it directly into your Fire TV, integrated right in the home screen and everything. It's the 500 gig version of the Fire TV Recast. Rules and conditions are posted in the giveaway link down below. You can read all of them and enter the giveaway there. Many options, from downloading our new app for iOS, Android, and Fire OS to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and other places to enter. You don't have to do all of them, but the more you do, the more chances you get to win. I'll put a link to that giveaway down in the show notes down below. All right, next deal of the day. Let's hop into it. Two great deals. The Roku Premier streaming player, the 4K streaming player from Roku that is typically $39.99. It is on sale right now for $34.99. A great deal if you want a cheap 4K streaming player from Roku. And the Amazon Fire TV Stick and Stick Plus are on sale starting at $29.99. So if you've been looking up to stock up for streaming players, maybe some Christmas gifts later in the year, I'll put a link to those deals down in the show notes down below. Using those links help support Cord Cutter's news and keep us open and operating. All right, first news story of the day. Cable TV subscribers are increasingly turning to streaming to find the shows that they enjoy. Now, we've heard for a long time this argument this year, and something that's I find hilariously funny from cable, but it's the idea that if you just go back to cable, you can get one bill that will give you everything you want. You won't have to mess with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, etc. Well, what we found, according to Real Good, which is a website where you can search for shows that you're looking for and it'll show you where you can watch them, that 91% of Hulu subscribers also pay for cable, 77% of Amazon subscribers also pay for cable, and 51% of Netflix subscribers. Now, this data comes from Real Good, and they didn't supply a full look at the data and how they come up with this. But what we have found is this is very true. You go back to the launch of Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. I would argue back then, 90+% of their subscribers were cable subscribers. So it actually shows that this is an improvement, that fewer Americans are probably subscribing to cable than were, according to this data. If you look at where they were when they first launched, Netflix 10 plus years ago, their streaming version, to today. Now, what I also find interesting about this is one more example of how cable TV is not giving people everything they want. We often talk about The Handmaid's Tale, Stranger Things, Orange is the New Black, and more are great award-winning shows. You can't watch with cable. You need a streaming service to do that. And it seems that more and more cable subscribers are moving over to streaming. So let me know, were you a cable subscriber who also had streaming services? What I find interesting about this is as cable subscribers stream more, they become more likely to cut the cord. As they realize that more and more of their viewing is moving over to streaming apps, the less they want to pay for that big $200+ cable bundle. So I really think that this is actually a good thing for cord cutting, and I actually think this is an improvement. Back in the day when they first launched and cord cutting was basically non-existent, these services were pretty much 90+% cable subscribers who also wanted streaming. So to see the numbers in detail is interesting, but it's not a surprise to me. If anything, I'm surprised how low it is. 51% for Netflix? Well, maybe worldwide, but in the United States, I would bet that's a lot higher maybe. But my guess is overall, that the vast majority of most streaming services are cable subscribers, because cord cutting is still at 35 million people compared to 80, 90 some million, depending on who you talk to out there, cable subscribers. You know, there's a lot more cable subscribers than there are cord cutters. When you see Netflix having over 100 million people and cord cutting is only 35 million, even if every single cord cutter subscribes to Netflix, which they don't, you obviously have to assume that a vast majority of those subscribers are cable subscribers also. And that's good. You know, the more they stream, the more likely they are to realize that cable bill is just not worth it. So let me know, did you subscribe to streaming when you were a cable subscriber? If so, how many out there? All right, and what may be a blast from the past for many people out there, Apple has announced a new iPod Touch starting at $99. This includes a new, more powerful processor on it, which will allow FaceTime, something the old iPod did not allow, but now will allow you to do it with the new iPod Touch. Goes all the ways up, for 32 gigabytes is $199, and it goes all the ways up to, I believe, $399 for the iPod Touch with 256 gigabytes. Not very affordable compared to many of the other options out there. Of course, you could get a used iPhone, probably cheaper, to be honest with you, and maybe not use the cellular service. And I think you can even get for like $499 an iPhone 7. Don't quote me on that. I think that's where it goes right now. But I can see this for people who want an iPod Touch for their kids, or other people who they don't want to give them a phone, but they do want them to have access to the movies and the videos of an iPod Touch and messaging services like FaceTime. So cool deal. Details down in the link below. Question to you, when's the last time you used an iPod? I do still have my iPod Classic, the really big, huge storage one. I think it was like 150 gigs back then, was the big one. And I did recently find that it still works as long as it's plugged in. Unfortunately, the battery shot on it. But I'd love to know, when's the last time you used an iPod? Do you still use one? I'd love to hear from you. All right. One of the most popular questions we've been getting by email recently is, will there be new Rokus this year? With Roku having cut the price on many of the players, do a lot of sales recently, this has raised the question of when or if we will get a new Roku streaming player. I wrote a full detailed post about this down in the show notes, but in short, yes, I do expect a new Roku set of players to come up this year. The thing I would keep an eye out for this right now is it probably won't happen until late this year. Maybe not even announced until late fall, sometime in winter of 2019. Usually if Roku is going to make an announcement about a streaming player for the spring, they've already done it. May is usually the time, early May is when they would release it. They've done that in the past with some Roku sticks and other players. Traditionally, overall though, Roku launches them in the fall. Now, the big thing I wanted to bring this up, because I get this question a lot, but I also wanted to address, should you wait for this, or should you get a streaming player? Honestly, the Roku players out there right now are very good players. If you find a good deal on it, I would pick it up, because I don't think you'd be disappointed. The last few Roku iterations have been very minor updates. Very possible we are due for a massive Roku refresh. But if you're getting a $30, $40 streaming player, or even the Roku Ultra on sale for 70 some bucks as it has been recently, I would argue that, you know, you're probably going to be happy with that for a while. I still hear from a lot of people using a Roku 3 and maybe the updated version of the Roku 2 who are very happy and getting everything they want. Should you upgrade? Do you need to upgrade? I would say as long as it's working and giving you the apps you want, you're fine. Now, if you find yourself down the road, maybe you have a Roku XD, one of the really early Roku players from a long time ago, and you're saying, hey, I want to get that service, but it's not available in my old Roku XD, which hasn't been sold in, 6, 7 years now, I would say yes, upgrade. If you have a Roku 3 and your TV is just HD, it doesn't offer 4K, and it's doing what you want, I would say there's no need to upgrade. But if you did get a Roku or a new TV that's 4K and you want to upgrade your Roku to offer 4K, if you find a good deal, take advantage of it, do it now. You never know what the pricing could be. It could be that, hey, maybe the updates you want wouldn't be anything you'd be overly interested in this fall anyways. So there you go. My prediction is I do expect them this fall. I would say though that if you need a new Roku, if you have a 4K TV and you want to upgrade, go ahead and do it. If you don't need a new Roku and your streaming players are fine, I would say go ahead and hang in there and wait and see what happens. If you're getting all the apps you want and your Roku's still working fine, you're all set. The other thing I wanted to touch base on, because it goes along with the conversation we've been having a lot lately about all these new services coming out, is the fact that many cord cutting services are going to fail. I've talked about this a lot during the cord cutting Q&As, but I got a couple emails over the weekend. I've seen some news stories recently pushing this idea that not all these services are going to make it, and that means cord cutting is doomed to failure because there's no money in it. Well, the reality is there's over 100 streaming services. And when we talk to our readers, when we survey you, when we talk to other people who professionally survey and study the markets, we find that the average cord cutter subscribes to 4 or less services. And they're not very loyal. That, hey, if something better comes out, cord cutters are very willing to say, hey, I'm here, but you know what? That other service over here, that looks better. I'm going to switch over to that one because it gives me maybe a better user interface, better customer service, a better app, better device support, maybe a channel I want, maybe a show I want. I find cord cutters are very willing to say, this one out, that one in. So this is the ultimate version of the free market, right? Where when there's no tie-ins, the best will rise to the top, the worst ones will fall to the bottom. We've already seen this happen. Several services shut down last year. We've already seen some live TV ones fail, with CenturyLink shutting down their Prism TV streaming, wherever they may have called it, I forget. I know the Prism TV, their DSL version is still out there, not being expanded though, is still available, but they're no longer doing their streaming version. So don't be afraid if you start seeing things, even what you may have thought is a major streaming service shut down. Just the fact that, hey, the best are rising to the top, the worst are falling to the bottom. And it's a combination. Poor management can also be an factor here. We can have the best of services out there, but the marketing is poor, the management's poor. Hey, a service with better marketing, better management is going to succeed. It's just the way these things work. So my question to you is, which service do you think is most likely to fail in the world of cord cutting? This could be on demand. This could be a live TV streaming service. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I just wanted to throw that little idea in the back of your head that when you do hear about a major streaming service fail, when you do see the predictable stories out there, like, look, everybody said this service was going to succeed, it didn't, it must mean cord cutting is not real, not viably profitable, etc. To take that with a grain of salt and understand that this is free market. Some things will succeed, others will not. You look at that at restaurants, right? If a restaurant's really good, people go there, it succeeds. If a restaurant's bad, has poor management, has bad marketing, no one knows about it, it's going to fail. We see that all the time. Now, that's not an indictment on restaurants. That's just the fact that, the best will succeed, the worst will fail. And we're seeing that in TV. Unlike with cable and satellite, which effectively have a monopoly and have the ability to say, hey, tough luck if you don't like what we're doing. Where else are you going to go? Because you really only have a couple options. They're all bad. So we don't have to worry about you leaving because you're going to stay with us. That's changing. And that's the greatest thing about cord cutting, is it's removing that ability for cable companies to say, hey, no matter what happens, you're stuck with us, deal with it. Guess what? We don't have to deal with it. I know there's still internet, but that's changing too. SpaceX is in space, 5G is rolling out, fixed wireless, fiber. It won't happen overnight, but options are rolling out across the country, and increasingly it's becoming more and more popular. So if you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know your thoughts on these stories. If you're a regular here, ring the notification bell. We'll be back tomorrow with our cord cutting Q&A and our Cord Cutting Today update show. So I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic holiday weekend.